Hi everyone, welcome back out to the garden. It is just a glorious day today. We had that big storm yesterday, which ended up just being a really cool down, and some rain for our freshly planted peppers and tomatoes that we got in. So today, I've got seeds out, and I'm hoping that I can wrap up this, at least in the garden planting today. So, I pulled out a lot of seeds. Alright, so the first seeds that I've got ready to plant are zucchini. So yesterday we planted the bell peppers, a space in between, and then our hot peppers, which include our natapinos and our pepperoncini. But I'm thinking zucchini would be perfect plants in between to separate them, and then I get some zucchini plants in my garden. Last year we tried planting them up behind the greenhouse, and they don't do well up there. It's easier to have things in the garden. They're well watered, everything's taken care of. I think the chickens realized I'm here. So typically I plant Black Beauty zucchini, and I did get some of those seeds from Survival Garden Seeds this year. They also sent gray zucchini, which I don't think I've ever tried. I have had like a yellow zucchini before, so it might have been this one. But we'll plant those, and then I had some leftover. This was one I just picked up locally last year. Burpee Organics dark green zucchini or summer squash. And these I had planted most of because my hope was that if I had extra I could feed them to the pigs last year. Chickens are really loud today. Sorry. So next up is our trellis here. Now last year we started cucumbers on our trellis, and we actually started the plants inside first and then transplanted the plants, which we don't typically do. We were hoping to just maybe be able to get a head start away from those cucumber beetles that were such a problem the last few years, and it didn't seem to make any difference. So I didn't waste any time with starting cucumber plants this year, and we're going to continue to plant our Parisian pickling because they're just my favorite. And then last year we tried the Armenian yard lawn cucumber, and those were really good too. And it was nice that they got so large, so we ended up having a bigger amount. I still have pickles canned in the root cellar, which I don't think I've ever gotten to this point in the year before. So pretty awesome. In fact, we just are starting to use those canned pickles and switching over from our ferments. So we're going to plant those along the trellis. And then because I'm getting kind of a late start with them, I really want the look of a full garden trellis. So in years past we planted other things on here, or I planted sooner, and it was full and it looked so pretty, and we walked into that secret garden like look, and I want that back. So I had this when I was going through my seeds, red Malabar spinach. It's more of a climbing variety. I don't think it's even actually spinach family, and I've never eaten it before, but I bought it a few years ago. I heard it on, I think it was Roots and Refuge. I heard Jess talking about it, and it just looked really pretty. I think she was talking about it for dye, if I recall, and I thought, ooh, that's interesting. I probably won't use it for that, but I thought it was very interesting, and I think it'll look really pretty climbing up there amongst the cucumbers. At least that's my hope. I did find when I was going through my seeds spring blush peas and Oregon sugar pod peas, and I wish I would have gotten these planted. The kids like snacking on peas here and there, but none of us like them enough to really plant them. We used to plant them on our arch, and I found these and I'm like, ooh, it would be nice to plant them, but I think I'm going to ask the kids if they want to plant any in the shade. Maybe they'll get lucky and get some, and they won't be too bitter, but we'll see. And then I also realized that we never planted any okra. So I was reading online because we've never planted okra, just to kind of get an idea of this, and it looks like even in Minnesota I can still plant this now. So if I have a little extra room, maybe towards the back of the garden, I'll plant some of this today, but I'm not really sure if we'll get to it. And then of course we've got our beans. So I ordered a great big bag of Provider bush beans because these have been a great one. The Provider and then Contender bush beans are also one of my favorites. So I ordered these from Seed Savers just because I could get such a large pack from them. And then I have from Survival Garden Seeds some more of the Provider and Contender. So those ones have been my favorites. We also still have some leftover Jade bush beans, and then I got a pack of Royal Burgundy bush beans this year. We did do a purple variety last year, which was kind of fun. It was really great for my then 3-year-old for picking beans, because he could easily identify what was the plant and what was the bean, and he was able to come out and help me pick really easily. So that was fun for that. So I might plant those as well, but we'll just see what we have room for. Usually as far as beans go, I'll plant multiple plantings throughout the year, especially towards the end of the year, so I can get some to save for seed. And you probably noticed I don't think I have any that I saved. I might have missed, I think I just forgot to check one spot to see if I had any in there, but I couldn't find any saved beans. And I do recall that last year I was having a hard time getting my beans to that point because it kind of kept raining towards the end of the season, and so they weren't really drying out. Oh, I also found some cucamelon seeds, not many, but I might also give those to the kids to plant somewhere. Maybe I'll throw 1 or 2 on the arch, see if they come up. Along with the beans, I found some light red kidney beans. Now, I ordered these forever ago. It says they were packaged for 2020, and I've never grown them, but I was looking it up, and they're fairly the same amount of time. So I'm like, oh, maybe I can throw in some and just whatever, maybe just have like 1 meal off of it just for fun, see how it goes. And then same with the black-eyed peas. I've wanted to grow these for a while. It seems like those of you down in southern states maybe grow this more commonly, but I'm not familiar with these. I've never eaten them. I've never grown them. So I thought it would be something kind of fun to try and grow, and it looks pretty similar as far as the kidney beans, as far as time frame that they'll be able to be done by the end of the year, but we'll kind of just try it out. I don't think I'll plant all of them in hopes that if it doesn't, well, in hopes that it works out, but in case it doesn't, I can try them again without buying more seeds. So, oh, and since I know someone will ask, I did pull out a bunch of herbs. I don't really have anything started for herbs other than plants that came back, and then gourds and pumpkins and melons. I pulled out those seeds. I don't know what we're going to do this year for that. We've been planting them over on the other side of the creek. We can't get water to them easily enough. It's a very big hassle. We tried planting them on the other side of the greenhouse. They did a little bit better, same issues. And way back when, we used to plant them on the far end of our garden, and they did, as far as pumpkins, they did better there than anywhere. So we'll see. My plan for the beans is to start planting a row back here in between the tomatoes and the garlic. And I have so much just dill coming up right here, and there happen to be some right here on the edge of the garlic as well. So I kind of dug up this area. I'm digging up any really established good dill plants and putting them over here. So hopefully we can save them, but I can still get all my green beans in. I got a row of jade bush beans planted, and then my plan was to plant some more beans down here, maybe intermix some beans with the cabbage here and a little bit in here. I'm thinking, since this is the area where all the tomato plants are volunteering coming up, of taking these out so I can put more beans in here. I already took out a few, and I'm just putting them on the opposite side as Matt planted tomatoes back here. So he planted on that side, I'm planting them on this side, and just in between where he planted, so they're spaced out a little bit. That way, if we have bad luck with some of those tomatoes, at least we'll have tomato plants. That is something just so wonderful when you plant with some real seed, I guess, is you end up with volunteers. So for the good and the bad, all this random dill, all these random tomatoes, you know, I had a bad year starting tomatoes, and here's just a whole abundance of them without doing anything extra. So we'll see what we get from them. So you think volunteers aren't that big of a deal, but I planted them here, all the way, all the way, all the way, all the way down, all the way down to here. I stopped right here. I have one little chunk from fence post to fence post, here to here. Maybe I could fit in 4 more volunteers if I had them. And I have a feeling, as I'm going around the garden, I'll find 4 more volunteers. So that means on this side we've got all those little tomato plants. On this side we've got all the volunteers. This side, I'm looking at it now and just realizing, in my head I thought this whole panel was planted, and it's not. So there's all the way up to here has room too. I do see a couple volunteers on the other side, So we'll see what we find. And look at that. And we did have we were going to get some more tomato plants, but I'm not sure if we'll get them as soon as we would like, so we'll just see. We'll see how it goes. Let's see if we have time for some more beans. It's starting to get a little warmer out here in the heat of the afternoon, but this breeze just feels great. As far as openings in the garden, room to plant, from about here on down on this first trellis, we have room for tomatoes or something climbing if we don't end up getting enough tomatoes. We did fill up this area here pretty well, but down in the bottom of the garden, this spot that we always have trouble with, I haven't planted anything yet. As you can see, it's just full of weeds. So this area, if I have time this week, I might clean it up a little. Maybe I'll try to throw in some pumpkins or gourd seeds or something down here just to get something in. I did not get any peas or cucamelons in. I did not get any okra in, so I don't know if we'll get to that. And I would like to plant more green beans. And then the gourds and pumpkins, melons and things I didn't get to. Alright, and then right here, the cabbage are along here. We've got some broccoli and sunflowers in the back there. Where this pallet is, there's nothing planted here and we don't need this big of a walkway. So ideally I could throw in some more bean rows here, but it's getting late. I've been outside on and off all day, and you can probably tell with the sunlight and things, but it's almost supper time. So I'm gonna go in and make some supper and just call it quits for the night. If we have time this week to come out and get some beans in, I will. Thankfully, beans are one of those things I can plant ongoing throughout the summer. So hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you are finally getting your gardens in if it's taken you as long as it's taken me. Glad you got to see me again. Bye.